Guys, congratulations on the film.
Oh, thank you.
This film celebrates kind of 100 years of Disney. So I wanted to ask you about your kind of childhood or first cinematic memories of Disney. Because for me, I remember as a kid watching and being so enamored with Robin Williams performing as the genie. And then obviously in the later years, seeing all the outtakes and seeing all the amazing things and kind of that revolutionary thing that he did with voice actors. Do you remember the first Disney film you saw in the cinema, or the first film that kind of left an indelible mark?
The first film that I saw was Bambi. I was in my parents took me to the theater, and I remember sort of the emotional roller coaster they went through. So I remember, crying. I remember laughing. But most of all, looking back on it, I realized there's that special moment as a child where you connect with the film. You can experience a range of emotions, but you're there in the safety of the theater. You're there with your parents. So it's a very memorable moment for me.
For me, it was Beauty and the Beast. I remember watching it with my brother, and that very first shot where you're transported into the Beast Castle was magical for me. And I think it just reminds me of why the movie theater experience is so phenomenal.
Yeah. In terms of you guys as producers, how do you settle on which film you're going to do? Is there like what's your kind of process in terms of I'm going to work on this one?
I used to think that the idea was the most important thing, so I would gravitate to that. What I realized over time is that it's the creative team that's the most important. So we never really know what the story is going to be. We have a vague idea when we start, but it's really that partnership and that trust that you develop with the creative team that draws you to a project.
Yeah. How invaluable is your experience being kind of relatively new to this, working with someone like Peter? Because he's obviously been with the company for a long time and seen so many kind of waves of evolution and revolution in terms of Disney. So how was that experience for you?
Well, it's fantastic, and working with someone with Peter is a true honor. And I mean, Chris and Fawn, I was very blessed to be surrounded by phenomenal people that know their craft. And so it's just been a joyful ride, and full of learning, full of discovery, and it's very rewarding, and I'm very proud of what we did.
Yeah. One of the great things I like about this film is Star as a character, because not only is it a challenge in terms of animation, but it kind of harks back to Disney in terms of the silent era and it being about, they talked about pantomime and all that kind of stuff. For you guys, when you see that and you see kind of the animation and because it's a tough thing, and then obviously then doubly tough for Ariana, because even though she's in a booth by herself anyway, she hasn't got anyone to play off of. So how did you see that unfolding? Because it's quite a challenge to do that.
Well, actually, Star had quite the evolution as a character.
Yeah.
It started off, it actually had a voice, it actually spoke. It was sort of a shapeshifter, so sometimes animal, sometimes human, had different voices. But we very quickly realized that Asha's the protagonist. We didn't want somebody to come down and give her answers. We wanted her to drive the movie. So the idea of Star not speaking became really important. And it's an animator's dream, because they have to create this character purely through expression. And they've done an incredible job doing so.
Yeah. How have you guys seen as producers the kind of evolution of animation? Because obviously nowadays there's so many different things in terms of, there's Disney and then all these other offshoots. Now there's Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff. Do you still think animation's at kind of its peak now, or do you think there's still room for more evolution with animation?
I love the fact that there's a lot of animation going on in the industry right now. I love the fact that audiences gravitate to animation. I think that makes it healthier. As for, do I think it's at its peak? No. Whenever I think that we're at a peak, something new and surprising comes along, and I think Disney will continue to evolve well into the future.
Yeah. As a final question, I've had what I asked the guys this as well. I've had the earworm of Chris Pine saying, "This is the thanks I get," for like a week, and I can't seem to shake it. For you, rather than asking about a favourite song, is there like a lyric or something from the songs from this film that's kind of stuck in your brain since in the years up to the release?
Well, I think both of us have mentioned that the lyric in "I'm a Star" of "Our eyes are like microscopic galaxies" is just very beautiful and profound. And do you ever wonder why you look up at the sky for answers? I just think there's beautiful lyrics in that song, but then the lyrics of "Knowing What I Know Now" are so empowering, and it makes you really want to take charge and control of your wishes.
Yeah, and I would say audience should stay and watch the end credits and listen to Julia's end credits song. It's really beautiful, heartfelt. It's also one of my favorites.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Actually,
Take
great to
care.
see you again.
All right.
Thanks so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys!
Hey!